Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Laura and this is my series on Gothic and Romantic literature that I'm doing this autumn. And today I want to talk about one of my very favorite novels of all time, The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, published in 1860. It's also what I themed my makeup and outfit to today, as you can also see in my short that I did on that if you're interested. And I just want to quickly summarize the beginning of the story so you get a glimpse or an idea of what it is about, but I won't reveal the ending because the novel is really worth a read, and if you haven't read it, I don't want to take away that ending. So the novel is about Walter Hartwright. He's an art teacher and he comes to Literatue House, which is a mansion where two young ladies live, and he is about to teach them some art. And when he's actually on the way to the house, he meets a very mysterious woman in white at midnight, and the woman is asking him for some instructions for where she has to go, and he is really wondering what she's about to do and where she's going. And she gives us some instructions, and later he meets a police officer and he says that the woman has escaped from a mental asylum. So yeah, that's the first impression we get of the woman in white. And then Walter Hartwright gets to the house at Literatue House and he meets the two half-sisters, Marianne Holcomb and Laura Fairley. They have been living together at the house all the time, and they are also really close, the sisters, and really lovable, so it's really easy to like them when you're reading the story. And after a time, Walter Hartwright falls in love with Laura Fairley. Actually, it happens rather quickly because she's beautiful and lovely, and as you always read about in all the novels, but the problem is that Laura has promised her father before his death that she would marry Sir Percival Glyde, and she's not really in love with him, but as she has promised that, she has to turn Walter Hartwright away, and as he cannot really deal with his heartbreak so well, he thinks it might be better if he left Literatue House again so that he doesn't interfere with the marriage and everything that's going to happen. But he still stays closely connected, especially with Marianne Holcomb, like the half-sister of Laura Fairley, through letters, and we still learn about everything that he's experiencing. He's going away to America to help some expeditions, and so he's gone for quite some time, and during that time a lot happens at Literatue House. So at first Laura and Sir Percival Glyde actually marry, and then they go away for their honeymoon, and when they return together with a friend of Sir Percival Glyde who is called Count Fosco. He's an Italian, and he also brings his wife, and I think his wife is actually the aunt of Laura Fairley, who is now called Laura Glyde. It's a little complicated, but also not really. There's quite a few characters that you only get to meet once or twice, but like the protagonists you get to know very quickly. So when they return, we actually get a very weird feeling because Sir Percival Glyde is a really weird person. He's really not likable at all, and he doesn't seem to treat Laura well, and that's why I really got a lump in my throat actually when I was reading about that. You feel like there's something off about him, but you don't really know what. And then actually Laura Fairley meets a woman who is called Anne Catherick, and who actually looks a lot alike her, which is a little surprising. And this Anne Catherick, she warns Laura. She says, I have to tell you something about your husband, like a secret, and with that secret you've got something to hold against him, so something that will protect you in a way, and I have to warn you about something. So that's what she tells her, but then she says we cannot talk now because there's witnesses, there's people that are observing us, and after that we learn a lot we learn about who that Anne Catherick is, we learn about the secret of Sir Percival Glyde, and we learn what happens to Marian and to Laura. But I won't reveal any of that in here, because it's better to read that on your own, and it's really, really well told, very interesting. The narrative actually is really wonderful for the time as well, because it's like an early modern, like a modern detective story, I think. It's actually also called a sensation novel, which I will talk about soon, but right now I just want to introduce you to the narration. So it's actually narrated from like dozens of different voices. The most important voice is that of Walter Hartwright, and I just quickly want to read the very beginning of the story to you, because you get an idea of what the idea behind the narration is actually. The story is begun by Walter Hartwright, the art teacher of Clemens and teacher of drawing. This is the story of what a woman's patience can endure and what a man's resolution can achieve. If the machinery of the law could be depended on to fathom every case of suspicion and to conduct every process of inquiry with moderate assistance only from the lubricating influences of oil of gold, the events which fill these pages might have claimed their share of the public attention in a court of justice. But the law is still, in certain inevitable cases, the pre-engaged servant of the long purse. And the story is left to be told for the first time in this place. As the judge might once have heard it, so the reader shall hear it now. No circumstance of importance from the beginning to the end of the disclosure shall be related on hearsay evidence. When the writer of these introductory lines, Walter Hartwright by name, happens to be more closely connected than others with these incidents to be recorded, he will describe them in his own person. When his experience fails, he will retire from the position of narrator, and his task will be continued from the point at which he has left it off, by other persons who can speak to the circumstances under notice from their own knowledge, just as clearly and positively as he has spoken before them. Thus, the story here presented will be told by more than one pen, as the story of an offence against the laws is told in court by more than one witness, with the same object in both cases to present the truth always in its most direct and most intelligible aspect, and to trace the course of one complete service of events by making the persons who have been most closely connected with them at each successive stage relate their own experience, word for word. Let Walter Hartwright, teacher of drawing, aged 28 years, be heard first. So, as you heard, Walter Hartwright is like the main narrator of the story, but he is not the only one. So we actually get, for example, to hear Mrs. Marian Holcomb, and also, like for example, the mother of Anne Catherick, and several other narrators, also like the cook, for example, and servants and people who are like also intertwined, but they are not like the main protagonists. But that's actually what makes the whole narrative very strong, because you get so many perspectives, and also the narration really changes in the tone, I think, and that's what makes it so well written and interesting and easy to read, because it doesn't get boring at all. Like the single passages are never too long or never too short, I think. So Wilkie Collins really figured out how to make a great narrative. So even that, like only that is really worth a read, I think. And I also wanted to talk about the genre that this novel belongs to, because it is sometimes called like a detective story, but also like a sensation novel or a mystery novel. And especially the term sensation novel is really interesting, because I think it actually emerged around the time of 1860 and 70 and also grew very popular in Great Britain at that time. And it's actually just shortly, like in a few words, it could be defined as a novel with a secret. So there's like a very big secret that all the narration is like wrapped around. So that's like what's the most important thing about the story. And sometimes they also have crime scenes, and the themes are often very shocking, like for example theft or adultery or insanity, seduction or even murder. And the twist that they give to like the classic ghost stories that you know, that are for example happening at like haunted houses or castles or ruins or like the monasteries or other places that you might know from the typical Gothic novel. Here the setting is a different one. It's rather a domestic one actually. So most of the horror or the terror, it's actually happening within the four walls of the people, like at their own houses, their own homes, and that's what makes it even stronger, I think, because like the shocking events, they're so close to the people and it really creeps into every inch of their surroundings. And I think that's really, really great. That's really well done. And you also, like when reading this novel, I think you can realize that we are actually on a way to a more modern way of telling stories, because it's also like there's a lot of what do you call it, like commentary and also critique of the social norms and society and moralism and like moral norms, I think, as well, and the way that society is structured. And I won't take way too much about that, as I said, but please go read the novel. It's one of the most wonderful Gothic novels you will probably come across, I think. If you don't like it, just let me know in the comments, or if you like it, tell me what you like about it, because I'm really intrigued by Wilkie Collins' writing and I would love to read more. I also want to read The Moonstone, and I think he has actually written around 20 or 25 books, because he actually got very popular rather early, because I think he started writing when he was like 25, and like his first novels were not his biggest success. I think the biggest one was actually The Woman in White and The Moonstone, but the fact that he got rather popular so early enabled him to work as a writer all his life, and that's why we have so many stories from him. One more recommendation, I listened to the audiobook as well, and was by Nexus Audiobooks, and if you can find that and you're interested in listening to the audiobook, that's also something I could recommend, because it's really well told and actually also told by different voices, so you really get the feeling that the different people with the different perspectives are talking to you and telling their view of the story and the things they witnessed. So that's really worth looking into. Nexus Audiobooks it's called. I will also write it down below and maybe post a link. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will also talk about The Woman in Black soon, because I think that it's nice to contrast these two, although they are not really connected at all. But The Woman in White, The Woman in Black, like this figure of a woman that is like the center point of this mystery, and the secret, everything around that is centered around this figure, and I think that's so interesting. So I thought I could just place them close to each other, and that's what you can expect next week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!